And welcome to Pilates Wheel 101. I'm Kimmy, and I'm going to take you through our beginner center of the room Pilates class. So I wrote on there, today all we need is our wheel. The entire class will be done with just the wheel. We're going to adjust the bar, but the wheel is the only thing that we need. And before we get started with this, make sure you have the written consent of your healthcare provider. So we're going to start on our knees. We're going to do just a few rollouts just to warm us up. So let's grab onto the bar. We're going to have our fingers wrapped around and the thumbs on the opposite side of the fingers. And before we get started with anything, let's start to think about drawing the shoulder blades down our back. So we have sort of an extension happening with our torso, and we're not rounding, and we're not lifting the shoulders up toward the ears. Then we're going to come onto our knees. So our wrists and our shoulders are lined up with one another to start, and then we're going to tuck the tail under. Let's press the tops of the feet into the mat. So that acts as kind of your anchor back there. And now let's do just a few rotations with our shoulders. So keeping the arms long, you're going to lift your shoulders up towards your ears, rotate them back and down. And then you get a sense of what I'm talking about. And then we get a little, lubrication going in the shoulders here. And then from here, we're going to keep the tuck in the tail and then press the wheel forward. Now the hands are coming forward of the wheel. Pull your belly button in and lift using your abs to pull the wheel back toward you. And so then with that movement, we have the shoulder blades running down toward your back pocket. So that means there's a slight extension on your spine. So you're sort of lifting, using everything in the torso, using all those muscles, using the back, using the abs, and then the more we tuck our tail, the more you feel like your abdominal muscles are in the work here. We're going to do 3 more. And 2. And last 1. And now we are going to come down onto our backs. So we're feeling that, the blood flow is happening here. And just kind of warming up for the workout. So we're going to put our feet underneath the wheel. We're going to grab onto the wheel and we're going to curl all the way back. Take your wheel up overhead. And now when the wheel is up overhead, it's the same. I want you pulling everything toward your midline. All right, so you don't want to have the rib cage flared open on this. You want to pull everything down. Then you feel that little stretch happening in the shoulders. And just kind of enjoy this. Now point your toes, tuck your tail under. Take the wheel down, bending your elbows, keeping them up toward the ceiling. And now we're going to lift the wheel slightly off the ground, just over the face. And now the wheel is coming across the torso toward the thighs. Tuck your chin into your chest and start to round without momentum to curl all the way back up. Pointing your toes, pulling your belly button in, creating space in the abdominal area. So now we're in flexion, which is the opposite of an extension. And we're looking down toward the knees. We're opening up the backs of the legs, drawing the navel deep into the spine as we're reaching that sort of backwards as we're reaching the hands forward. So we're oppositionally pulling. So now we're going to grab onto the wheel and start to tuck your tail under a little bit more. And now you're rounding one vertebrae at a time, all the way back down. Take the wheel across the torso, nice and close, and then lift it all the way up overhead. And that's 1. We're going to go through 9 more. So now curl all the way down, keep it nice and close to you. Look down towards your belly button, lift the head, neck, and shoulders, curling one vertebrae at a time off the mat as we head forward, bringing our wheel toward our feet, lifting our belly, creating space in the lower rib cage and the hip bones. And now we're going to tuck your tail even more as we curl back down. Lift it all the way up overhead. Wheel is on the ground at this point. Take your shoulders and pull them down. Hug your rib cage in. Take your bar, your wheel, cross the chest. Now we're rounding up. So another thing I want you to think about too, so we're really working every single muscle in the body in this one. As we're drawing your kneecaps up, you're pointing your toes, all those muscles in your legs are actually working here as well. Keep that rib cage hugging down as your arms are up overhead. And one thing here I really want you to try and work on is that when you're curling up, the legs stay on the ground. So you're kind of resisting them, pushing them back in towards into the mat as you're curling all the way up. I think that was 5, or this one's 5. So if you feel the feet coming up off the mat or the legs lifting up, that means you're sort of working the hip flexors a little bit more than we really want. Drawing the navel deep in toward your spine. You know, it's if you feel like you're working every single muscle in your body, that's a really great thing, because this really is a full body move, not just the abdominal muscles. And we've got 3 more. Now, instead of me saying drawing the shoulder blades down your back, I really want you to, I really want you to focus on the shoulders not coming up towards your ears, not hunching. So to avoid that, when you're in flexion, I want you to think about pulling your arm bones into your shoulder sockets. And then that will get the muscles underneath your armpits fired up, and that will help keep the posture and everything in check. We've got 1 more here. So hopefully you're starting to feel nice and warmed up on this one. And reaching, just feel that stretch one last time, because we are going to work our hamstrings next. So keep the wheel on the above the legs. Now take your legs out from underneath the wheel and lift them up and over to the other side, so the feet are on the other side of the wheel. Then we are going to come back down onto the mat, and now our feet are coming up onto the bar. So let's go into the arches. So the arches are directly on top of the bar. So you've got your hooks, we'll call your feet your hooks, in the bar. And so when we're in this position, I want you to feel your tailbone grounded into the mat. You want to feel like your femur bones are pulling into your hip socket, so there's a lot of hip stability happening here. And then you want to feel like you're isometrically drawing your heels toward your tush without actually pulling the wheel closer to you. So that means your hamstrings are working in an isometric way. And now let's keep our hands on the mat, so the fingers are spread open, hands are sort of gripping onto the mat as you open up the collarbones. Bring the chin down toward the neck to create that double chin as we're reaching the crown of the head long toward the room behind us, and we're sort of trying to press the base of the skull in the mat. That way you get a lot of length back there, and that's and we're going to go into a bridge. So that's what I'm looking for when we're doing this move. I'm looking for a lot of length in the spine. So now our tailbone's on the ground, and I'm going to get you to scoop your belly, pressing the low spine into the mat. Sort of the tailbone is sort of inching slightly off the mat. And then we're gonna go one vertebrae at a time as we lift the hips up toward the ceiling. Now, we're pressing the hips up as we're hugging the rib cage in. So we're sort of creating a plank with our torso. Keep the collarbones nice and wide. And now we're gonna start from the low rib cage and peel one vertebrae at a time, back down to the mat. Low spine comes down first, then the tailbone hits. And we're gonna take another inhale and then exhale, start to scoop your belly, peeling one vertebrae at a time, articulating your spine up toward the ceiling, the hips pressing up toward the ceiling, and then take an inhale and then exhale, scooping your belly, and let's come one vertebrae at a time, starting from the low rib cage all the way back down to the mat. And now you have to be getting a sense where the hamstrings are really coming into work here. And if your hamstrings weren't working here, your wheel would be pressing way out in front of you. Now scoop your belly and curl all the way up, pressing the hips up, hug your rib cage and belly button, hold in tight, squeezing those glute muscles too to push the hips up a little bit higher, and then start one vertebrae at a time, coming all the way back down. And we're going to go one more time. This time we're staying up. This time, lifting our right leg up and down for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep that leg up and peel the spine one vertebrae at a time, all the way back down. Let's take that foot back onto your bar, and we're gonna take the right leg, because that one was really doing all the work there in the hamstring, and we're gonna push the heel of the left leg toward the ceiling as you open up the back of the leg, just to stretch it out after all the work that it just did. Just one more deep breath here. And then we're gonna take that leg back on to your wheel, and we're gonna do the other side. All right, so both feet are on the foot bar. And the reason I'm doing the bridge initially with both feet is that we keep our hips even. So as we curl the pelvic bowl up, we press the hips up toward the ceiling. So now we're up here, so the hips should stay even. Now we're gonna take our left leg, lift it up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Point that toe up toward the ceiling, and let's go one vertebrae at a time, all the way back down. Let the left foot come back to the mat, and then we're going to take our right leg, extend it up toward the ceiling, push the heel toward the ceiling, and open up the back of that leg. Feeling the stretches. One more big deep breath here. And then we are going to bring that leg back down, and we are going to come and sit. Have our feet under the bar, right up against the wheel. So the wheel is kind of holding our feet in place. So we're seated on our sit bones. When you're seated on your sit bones, your hamstrings may be tight, so if that's the case, give the knees a little bend. If you're okay, just straighten the legs all the way out, but I don't want you rolling back to the tailbone. I want the tailbone out from underneath you. And from here, we're staying forward so let's, before we get started, let's pull the butt flesh out from underneath us. That way we feel the sit bones pressing onto the mat. Now we're gonna, another thing I want you to really feel here is that you're lifted light up out of the pelvic bowl, so your feeling tall in your spine, not compressed. Extend your arms all the way out to the sides at shoulder height. And from here, we're going to draw the belly button toward the spine. Take an inhale as we twist. And so our right hand is coming toward our left foot. Now we're going to look down toward the left knee as we reach the right hand to the wheel. Now we're equally pressing on both sit bones. So you may have found that your right sit bone is coming up a little bit. Let's just really square that down into the mat. And now we're going to come back center, arms out long, and we're twisting. Look down toward the right knee, bring your left hand toward the wheel, and reach. And we're going to go back through center, twist, and dive out toward the left wheel. Lift it back through center, twist, and dive out toward the right wheel. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist, and reach. So another thing that I want you to feel happening here is that we're reaching forward with our right hand here, and then we're reaching also back with our left hand. So we're oppositionally pulling on both arms. And reach, same thing on this side. And we're just going to go one more on each side. Come back through center. Let's take your feet out from underneath, and we're going to set up for a mermaid. So let's go, our right side is up against the wheel. Let's take our right shin, line it up to the edge of the mat, and take our left foot and line it up toward the edge, or the end of or toward your tush, the heel toward your tush. If that does not work for you, you can always come and sit crisscross. It will do the same thing in a kinder, gentler version. Not that the mermaid is not a kind and gentle move. I love the mermaid is one of my favorite. So now from here, we're going to take your right hand directly in the center of your bar. Take your shoulders, wrap them down so your spine is sort of in an extension. Reach the crown of the head toward the ceiling. And as we extend our right arm long, keep the shoulder rotated down as you're using this muscle so you feel like you're pulling that arm bone into the socket. The muscle underneath your armpit is working. And now let's reach the left arm all the way overhead. And so creating a lift through your right side as we're reaching the left arm over, pressing your left hip into the mat, and then we're going to lift. So it's a lateral stretch. You feel that lateral stretch on the left side as we're reaching over. And we're going to go one more time. So you're not compressing on that side, you're lifting, you're rounding over. Bring it back in. Let's take your left hand to the bar, right hand comes back, and we're going to, now we're flexing the spine. So we're rounding, our chin down, looks down, or our chin toward our chest, and our eyes gaze toward our belly button as we roll round forward. Now still pulling that left sit bone back, look down toward your belly, and rounding back up. This time we're going to go with flat back, so we're sort of extending the spine. Pull your tail out from underneath you and press the wheel forward and lifting it up. Now from here we're going to take our left hand to our left foot, right hand to our left knee, lift and twist. And we are going to reach around, grab your wheel underhand, switch it to the left side, and now all we have to do is switch the legs around. So right foot up toward the tush, left shin lined up toward the mat. Take your left hand in the center of the bar, pull that shoulder blade, draw it down your back as you're pulling that arm bone into your socket, and the muscle underneath your arm is working. So lifting up and over, keeping the spine all in alignment. Reaching your right sit bone to the mat as you're reaching your right hand to the other side of the room. And now let's bring the wheel back in and lift it all the way up and over. And we're going to go for one more time. Exhaling. And let's bring it back in. We're going to take our right hand to the bar, left hand back behind you. Look down towards your belly button. Tuck your tail under as we round the spine. And reach to the left. Lift your belly, rounding, look down towards your belly button as you bring it back in. This time with a flat back extension. Press the wheel. And lifting with a flat back, reaching the crown of the head tall. Then we're going to take our right hand to our right foot, left hand to our right knee, and twist. Pull the tailbone out from underneath you as you twist. And from here, we're going to grab the wheel, come onto our knees. We're going to go through an arm series. Let's get an underhand grip. Elbows are at your waist. So you're on your knees, press the tops of the feet into the mat, tucking your tail under, hug your rib cage in, take the shoulder blades down your back as you lift your wheel up to shoulder height for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now keep the arms out long, bend just your elbows in as the wheel comes sort of toward your nose. And if it's not working for you to be on your knees, you can always stand up and do this as well. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Extend it all the way out long and bring straight arms all the way down by your thighs, and we're going to just lift it straight up. Five more. And 3, 2, and last one. Bring it all the way back down to your thighs. Maybe bring the wheel to the ground. We're going to turn it, the hands over for an overhand grip. Then we're going to take our wheel straight up overhead. Elbows are pointed toward the ceiling and we're keeping them hugged in tight so we're not flaring them open and up against the wheel. Check in where you are. Make sure your rib cage hasn't flared open with the hands up overhead, and tuck your tail back under. And now extend the arms out long, pressing the wheel toward the ceiling. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now let's bring the wheel down to the chest and all the way back down to the ground. I'm just going to do a little stretch for the shoulders. So you're going to have your wheel on the floor and you're going to come and sit. So the wheel's directly behind you. You can have your legs extended all the way out long, you can bend them in, or you can sit crisscross. Whatever works for you, works for me too. Then your hands are coming on top of the wheel. Make sure that the wheel comes back far enough that the wheel doesn't kind of slip and come back closer to you. So your hands are directly on top of the wheel, your arms are long, you're rotating your shoulders, and start to think about drawing them down your back as you feel that stretch sort of across the chest and in the shoulders. Now from here, we're going to go a little bit deeper, and we're going to scoop our belly and start to roll. And some of you may have loose enough shoulders that you can actually grab onto your bar. You have a little more control, I feel, when you're grabbing onto your bar. And now you're going to scoop your belly and start to send the wheel just slightly back behind you. And let's bring it slowly back in. Lift your arm one at a time off the wheel. You're going to turn around, and we're going to put the wheel in the low position. So grab onto the knob, loosen on both sides, lift the knob, drop the wheel to the drop the bar to the lowest level, and tighten the knobs. From here, we're going to come onto our stomach for a little swan. So let's make sure we have enough room, enough space. Coming down onto your stomach on the mat, the hands are on the bar at shoulder width apart. I like to bring the thumbs on the same side as the fingers for this one, just because I feel like it opens my shoulders in a better way. You're pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, drawing the kneecaps up, tucking your tail under so you're lengthening the low spine. Draw the belly button deep into your spine. Take an inhale here as we lift, straight arms. Lift the torso, reaching the crown of the head tall. And then exhale, bring it back down. So when we're lifting, we're not compressing the low spine, we're lengthening the low spine. And exhale down. Inhale, lift. And exhale down. We're going to go one more time. And exhale, bring it down. Now from here, we're going to come up onto our hands and knees. Hands are still going to be on the wheel, and our knees are lined up with our hips. We're pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, and now from here, we're scooping our belly. So we're tucking our tail underneath us as we start to press the wheel with long arms forward. So we're rounding, looking down towards your belly button. And now from here, we're going to take the tailbone out from underneath us and press the arms long, and you press the chest toward the mat. So this is sort of a downward dog position. I feel like the wheel allows us to get a bigger stretch in the shoulders as well. Take one more nice big deep breath here, scooping your belly. So the tailbone starts first. You're leading with the tailbone to lift through the spine, rounding it one vertebrae at a time, all the way back up. And then we're going to come down one more time. So our tailbone is still tucked underneath us. Look down toward your belly button and start to round your spine as you press your wheel with long arms out in front of you. Keep looking at your belly button. And now from here, take the tail out. Drop the chest toward the mat. Arms are extended out long. Now reaching the crown of the head sort of toward the mat as we're lengthening the back of the neck, but don't let the head droop down. One more big inhale here. And then as we exhale, we scoop your belly as we lift the wheel, rounding your spine. Look down towards your belly button and bring it all the way back in. We're going to do one more full child pose stretch. So we're sitting on our heels this time. Knees are open. Drop your chest toward your thigh, or in between your thighs. Reach your arms out long.
Pull your tailbone back toward your heels as you're opening the spine and the back. And now let's round all the way back up.
And that was our class for today. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I have another one tomorrow at 8 a.m. All right, well, thanks for watching today, and have a good Saturday, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. All right, thanks, you guys.